in studio Alia Rahman, and her attorney Jessica Gingold is also joining us remotely. Alia, thank you so much for joining us. And I'm sorry for everything you've gone through. The scenes from Minneapolis are just really disturbing. The Congresswoman says you were charged with unlawful conduct because you were silently standing during the president's speech. Can you explain at what moment did you stand and what happened after that?
Yeah, this is obviously my first time at State of the Union. I think if people have not been there as a guest, you might not have a sense of what's happening up there.
You were up in the
gallery.
In the gallery, yeah.
Yeah, so guests sit up in the gallery, right? We see our lawmakers on the floor stand up and sit down, stand up and sit down. That's happening up there too. So I had actually stood up and sat down a couple of times before they removed and arrested me. I stood up because somebody was turning 100, stuff like that. So yeah.
Were you standing in silent protest, or were you just, this is one of the times that you were just standing?
No, I was just experiencing the event. There's not much you can actually do at State of the Union besides sit down and stand up.
Right.
You're there for a long time, yeah, I was not protesting. I was wearing a mask and I wasn't speaking. I didn't have a sign. I didn't have anything written. And the point at which they actually put their hands on me to remove me, you can see it in pictures. The people around me are also standing, so it was a pretty confusing situation in terms of what the issue was. But yeah, I was removed.
So you weren't standing in protest, you were just standing along with other people, and do you feel like they were targeting you because they knew who you were? What do you think?
I think you do have to ask that question, right? Because, hey, I'm a very, I can be kind of a cold logic autistic person sometimes, right? And what I am seeing is that the people to either side of me are standing up, and not just standing up, but they're making noise, right? I was actually quiet. So if the issue is disruption, I'm not aware that anybody on the floor even knew I was standing up, right? People have kind of been like, what happened, since then, because it wasn't causing an issue.
Did they ask you to sit down and you refused to, or?
I asked questions, I'm sorry, what? Because, think about that. What does that even mean? Sit down, for the next 2 hours, or sit down just now and only you, or are we all supposed to sit down? What's going on here? Yeah, so the question of, are they targeting me? I really thought about that. I'm not famous. The only thing I'm known for is giving testimony about what I saw inside the Whipple Center Detention Center.
Right, Democrats had a hearing and invited you to
yeah, that's the only thing anybody knows me for, and I think I'm not the only person who worries that the state of Minnesota itself is targeted, right? Because we did not sit down, and we have been demanding justice. I just think it's really wild that I'm arrested, right? But Brian Palacios has not been arrested. The man who killed Keith Porter, that's all his family wants, right? Let's just see if there's a crime here. That hasn't happened. Charles Exum, who shot Marimar Martinez 5 times and bragged about it. They have not been arrested, right? But me?
How long were you in police custody?
I was released just before 4 a.m.
So at roughly 9:30, 10 o'clock until 4 a.m.? Or when? Yeah,
I think it was probably just after. Actually, I don't know exactly what time it was because you can't have a watch or a phone in there.
The speech started at about 9:18 or something like that.
I've probably been there about an hour. I'd been there. You have to go in really early and sit there. So I would say, yeah, probably a little bit after 10. And
were you in the custody of Capitol Police or DC Police?
Capitol Police. Yeah, the people who actually removed me are that kind of sergeant at arms team, which I gotta say, they don't give police vibes. They give bar security vibes, right? Not clear what the issue was, lots of strong arming. And the video you played, right? After that part of the video from Minneapolis, I was cuffed behind my back and carried through the street. I have a torn rotator tendon here, and I have multiple cartilage tears in both of my shoulders that we're trying to put together because of ICE agents, both there.
And you have a cane. What is that for?
Yeah, I used to walk with a regular cane because of balance issues around my traumatic brain injury. But guess what? If you've got torn shoulders, you got to take some pressure off of it. Normally, you would just switch to the other arm, but I have 2 torn shoulders for this punitive situation where I committed no crime with ICE.
Let me bring in your attorney.
Yeah.
Jessica, are there legal grounds to fight the unlawful conduct disruption of Congress charge against Dahlia?
So we are obviously still evaluating our options and continuing to investigate what occurred that evening. We are deeply concerned about what occurred, and we are definitely going to fight this. It is our belief that the allegations are baseless, that she likely was targeted, and that it is completely unreasonable for somebody to be arrested for merely standing up. We are committed to representing her and fighting this till the end.
This disturbing story that was disturbing back when you were hauled out of your car now continues to be. Jessica Gingold remotely and Alia Rahman, thank you so much for joining us, and stay in touch with us.
Yeah.
We would like to keep tabs of this.
I would like no more interesting things to happen in my life, actually. But
I'm
sure, yeah, absolutely.
And we would be happy
Yeah.
to hear from any other witnesses to the event. As Alia explained, she didn't have her phone in there. She didn't have any way to record what was happening. So to the extent that others were there, we would welcome people to reach out to the MacArthur Justice Center so that we can expose the truth.
Yeah.
And there were other people who got involved. Someone who was wearing like a medical coat who said, take your hands off her shoulder, that's not necessary. An attorney who steps out and said, I'm curious about what's happening here, do you have an attorney? So, and who tried to go with me to this back stairwell they took me to and we're not allowed. Yep.
Alia Rahman.
Yep.
Hope nothing more interesting happens.
Right, hope I never see you again. Okay.
All right, thanks so
Thank you.
much, Alia and Jessica,
Yep.
appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Good president.